Hello, the 31st here, how's it going? Welcome back to another character design analysis. Today we're taking our first look at the main villainous group of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Team Star. Among a whole host of superbly designed characters, this slot really stands out as some of the best. This video, we'll focus on the first three bosses, Giacomo, Mela, and Atticus. But of course, bosses don't make up the real heart of a team. Love 'em or hate 'em, no evil team would be complete without Grunts. So let's give them a little time in the sun before we focus on the bosses. Team Star is comprised of delinquent students from the Naranja and Yuva academies, so they wear a modified school uniform. The official artwork for the Grunts is really great, just brimming with so much personality. The woman from Yuva has such a confident and sassy pose, while the guy from Naranja is crouched in a threatening, animalistic stance with a huge grin on his face. They wear an almost standard school summer polo, but without the school crest on the left sleeve. Instead, they bear the Team Star emblem, emblazoned in golden spray paint. The girls' uniform is slightly different, as they've rolled up their sleeves and so have the logo tattooed onto their arms. Whatever they've done, I just hope it isn't permanent. The Team Star logo is a fantastic piece of graphic design. A 5-point star that represents the 5 different squads of the group, broken up by the letter S. It's a bit like how the FedEx logo has a hidden arrow in it. They've also added a couple of other, smaller modifications to the uniform, suspending their suspenders, upgrading their ties, and throwing on a pair of cartoonish gloves. The girls are also apparently wearing these shoes, which look highly impractical, and you can't even tell in the artwork. The most striking feature of the Grunts' design, though, is of course their choice in headwear. Absolutely shining in star-shaped black and gold goggles and a white open-faced motorcycle helmet with the golden Team Star logo on the side. Again, most likely spray painted on based on all the little gold flecks scattered across the dome. However, I think it adds something very cool and real to their aesthetic. It looks like golden constellations on a bright white night sky. This is unsurprisingly a theme across Team Star. Each of their 5 squads is named after one of the 5 brightest stars in the constellation Cassiopeia, which is also the name of their big boss. The whole group functions a bit like a biker gang, but without the cool jackets, split into these different squads, each with a lieutenant commanding them. Despite having very different looks to the Grunts, each boss keeps at least one thing that can be used to identify them as a student of either Naranja or Yuva Academy. In the official artwork, they've actually hidden a secret little pattern. Let me know in the comments if you spot it. Our first boss today is Giacomo. Now, he's no Freddy Flintoff, but Giacomo still knows how to look good. Here's the boss of Team Star's Dark Crew, the second squad, and it would be fair to consider him the brains behind the outfit when we meet him in Scarlet and Violet. He functions as the interim chief in the absence of the big boss and carefully plans and executes the group's strategies. Giacomo is also a talented musician, having created the team's theme song and playing surprise one-man concerts, which I think we can all agree is the worst kind of concert. He does these under the stage name DJ Vice, or DJ Bad Deeds in Japanese, and his design turns the music theme all the way up to 11. Well, maybe like an 8. His fit is generally quite professional and nowhere near as wild as some of the other bosses. It's composed of a 50-50 split between black and bright colours like white, red and green. The outermost layer is a black jacket with white trim, designed to invoke the image of audio level meters. This looks like it could be a type of kimono or could be a happy coat. Happy coats are somewhat associated with music in Japan, as they are worn at festivals and idol concerts. On top of the coat, he wears a dark grey backpack where he keeps all of his stuff. It's also where a lot of the colour peeks into his design. Green, orange and red explode into the sea of dark colours, representing the audio levels maxing out. The theme of digital music continues with a white cap covered in red and green media control symbols, and a matching pair of big white sneakers with green and red highlights. His skin-tight pair of black sweatpants goes great with his white dress shirt, and he tops the whole outfit off with a yellow or blue sleeveless sweater with the Team Star logo where the school crest should be. Like I said, it's a somewhat professional outfit, and I think that comes from who Giacomo is as a person. Before Team Star, Giacomo was actually the student council president, but his overly specific and strict rules got him quickly ousted by the student body, who replaced him with Nemona. This rejection is what led him to becoming a founding member of Team Star. Despite still wearing lots of the school uniform, Team Star has taught him to chill. He now has his shirt untucked and his top button undone. He's even ditched the tie. This is his rebellious phase. And by rebelling, I mean the DJ's in the house. Not only is he wearing a pair of Pokeball headphones, but he also carries around a portable set of laptop turntables with him. That way, he can jam out wherever the f he feels like it. Although, despite being a Dark-type trainer, and straight up being called DJ Evil in Chinese, other than wearing black, his outfit doesn't really scream bad guy. And then you see his face. There is a lot going on here. Like his thick, black eyebrows, angled and hooked, like he's always angry. That mischievous little grin, very impish. And of course, those eyes. Triangular, half-lidded with dark eyelids. And his eyeballs themselves, black iris with white pupils. It fits with black and white being the majority of his design, but it also adds something a little unusual. It's probably more of a stylistic choice, more than one that holds any significance in Japanese or art culture, and I think it makes sense when you see him without the pupils. Pitch black eyes like this just makes him look, goofier, a bit vacant. Having white pupils adds that spark of life. He looks more intelligent and villainous. Furthermore, it draws significantly more focus on the eyes, which is also what I think these lines in the eyelids do. Lastly, his black hair forms wild wings on the back of his head, and I'm not the first to say that it makes me think of Grimsley. Overall, he looks sneaky, very much a devious and cunning, but incredibly stylish foe. These kinds of details are really important in modern Pokemon character design. Being creative with the eyes is a great way to make characters more unique, which is a challenge they face when trying to create so many new main characters every game. Having a set style for the eyes can make characters in a universe feel more cohesive, but it also means that you have to try much harder with other aspects of their designs. And it can often lead to faces all looking very similar, like the Nami problem in One Piece and just everyone in Naruto. Another technique these games use to make characters feel more distinctive and to give them more personality is animations. Each character has a different throwing style and has their own animations for commanding their Pokemon to attack and reacting to their Pokemon getting attacked. Giacomo keeps all of his Pokemon in timables, which makes sense as timing obviously plays a huge role in music production, but it can also symbolize the great time and care he puts into crafting his schemes. During the battle, you'll notice that he often reaches back into his backpack to get Pokeballs, and then he'll launch them using what looks like the elegant throwing style, but with a bit less oomph. It's the same general movement where he cocks it back and throws it on the side, switching stances as he does. The difference could be put down to the fact he's holding a laptop and that he doesn't want to fling it off to the side as he pitches a fastball down the middle with all of his might. Honestly, his battle animations are some of the least interesting in the group. When ordering Ponyard to attack, he swipes his right arm across his body from left to right. And when his little buddy takes a hit, he fiddles with his laptop like he's making some calculations or like he's changing up the music to give himself an advantage. Which is exactly what he does in the manga, using his DJ skills to throw off his opponent's movements as they subconsciously start to follow the beat of his BGM. Shame that power is totally meaningless before the majesty of turn-based combat. All trainers have a very similar animation for returning their fallen Pokemon, giving it some reverence before putting it away. Having beaten all of his Pokemon and the rest of Team Star, the group eventually disbands. And in the postgame, we see that he's returned to school. I love this, because it's clear that he's not the same person he was before joining Team Star. While he's in the school uniform, he's not wearing the full suit that he used to, and his hair is still spiky. He's not an evil song slinger anymore, but he's also not the 45-year-old man he used to be. Seeing that character arc through the evolution of his design is very satisfying. His name in Japanese is Piña, which is Spanish for pineapple, and in English, it comes from Ananas commosus, the scientific name for a pineapple. It's also the Italian form of the name James. Before we move on, it's time for a fun new segment. Hasta la vista! I'm going to critique each boss's Hasta la vista poses. It's a bit stiff, he does the moves very precisely, but without any real flair. Overall though, it's a great effort, and pretty much in sync with Eri. 8 out of 10. I think in general his movements are just a bit stiff, probably because he was a bit of a stiff himself when he was the Prez. An important part of character design that I rarely mention is silhouette. Having a distinctive, easily recognizable silhouette is a powerful element of branding and character design. While I find Giacomo's a bit bland, they absolutely nailed it with Mela. Even on the darkest of nights, in the most dimly lit alley, I could recognize that goose step anywhere. Mela is the boss of Team Star's fire crew, the Shidar Squad. If Giacomo's the brains, she is the person who gets stuff done. Mela has a relentless drive and works hard to overcome any challenges that come her way. When the team needed more power to get the Starmobiles up and running, who was there to bail them out? Bloody Mela, that's who. She's a fearsome go-getter with a fiery design. The whole thing's quite complicated, but the main draw is obviously the boots.
The boots?
They are comically large, almost butt-high, fire-red racing boots with the Team Star logo on the left leg. Their design invokes the lashing imagery of flame, but also the fluttering fabric of a flag blowing in the wind. The broken nature of the Team Star logo also resembles the checker pattern of a flag like what you'd see at a motor race. The rest of her body is covered by a skin-tight black rider suit like those worn by motorcycle drivers, except this one has the tattered remains of a school uniform actually sewn onto it. The suit is sleeveless and leaves her arms and shoulders exposed. However, Mela is wearing special gloves of the same material to make up for it. The left goes all the way up the arm to the shoulder, while the right just covers her hand. Although she is wearing an armband to create the illusion of symmetry. All of these elements have a fiery flair to them, with their edges designed once again to look like flames. Over the gloves, Mela is wearing rings, a lot of them, with at least one ring on every finger, including her thumbs. She has accessorized like each ring gives her a +1 to intimidation. Lastly, Mela completes the brutalist aesthetic with what I can only describe as a chain link collar and belt, either in orange or purple, depending on the game. They speak volumes about her emotional state, screaming, "Stay away," and "No entry." To me, this is her wearing physical representations of her emotional walls. While she might come off as prickly and mean-spirited, all of this is a result of the bullying she suffered at school before joining Team Star. See, it turns out that Mela is actually adorable, but that her cuteness attracted the ire of jealous girls. By acting tough and dressing like a hardcore goth racer, she was able to end her bullying. However, her outfit isn't the only place she's put a great deal of effort into altering to seem more threatening. She has cosmetically modified her face with makeup to make herself appear colder and more aggressive. Her official artwork has her wearing black lipstick, while the final render has her wearing a dark purple instead. It contrasts nicely with her pale white skin and matches the black eyeshadow she's got her eyes up with. She's also taken her naturally fiery red and yellow hair and just spiked it all over the place, framing her face with flames. It's a very noticeable part of her design, and along with the boots, stands out the most, even in her silhouette. And it's here that we see the real impact of these choices. Her petite frame versus the way she's artificially inflated herself. This is a classic defense behavior in the animal world. Make yourself look bigger to scare off potential predators. Whether you're a tiny bird ruffling your feathers, or an insecure 260-pound man, it's a strategy you'll see all over the animal kingdom. But her appearance is just one way that she's cultivated this aura of dangerousness. The other major weapon she used to protect herself was the creation of a similarly serrated persona. This manifests in the form of her abrasive personality and aggressive body language. When ordering her Pokemon to attack, she doesn't do anything too fancy, a big sweep from right to left with her left hand. On the other hand, her response to her Pokemon taking damage is fantastic, squaring up and punching her palm to get hyped to kick your ass. Her post-feint animation is also one of the most unique ones in the whole game, giving a confident little fist pump pose along with the customary condolences. Mela keeps all of her Pokemon in quick balls, and combined with the TM she gives us, Flame Charge, it makes sense to me that these would represent her relentless drive to achieve her goals, as well as her quick temper and straight to the point personality. Despite that, she just can't completely hide her cute side. In contrast to her aggressive animations, Mela throws using the dainty throwing style. Her boots are also so tall that she can't bend her knees, forcing her to walk with straight legs at all times. While watching her march around everywhere might make her look more scary to some people, to me it just looks silly and endearing. The goofiness of it all detracts from her biker gang aura. If you look closely enough, even her flaming clothes have hidden hearts. Mela seems to be designed in a way that mixes Japanese and Western standards for beauty and cuteness. A very slight, thin frame, with mostly small facial features but large eyes, and porcelain white skin. Clear, pale skin is seen as beautiful in Japan, yet she's a redhead with green eyes and freckles, traits not normally associated with beauty in the East. Freckles, for example, traditionally made a person look low class, because wealthy, delicate flowers stayed inside away from the sun. This appearance is more closely associated with Celtic people like the Scots and the Irish. Those big teal eyes stand out a great deal due to the colour contrast, and freckles are generally considered to be cute in the West. That said, they haven't always been viewed that way here. If anything, it's a very recent development. It would seem that girls being outside is still a pretty newfangled idea. But her cuteness isn't only skin deep. A few times throughout the game, we see Mela break character and show us a softer side of herself. Firstly, during the cutscene where Mela reunites with a Char Cadet she played with during her time at school, also in her interactions with Penny. Finally, in the post-game, where we learn about her ambitions to become an artist. It's here that we see her normal appearance for the first time, and she's a peach. Literally, that's where her name comes from in Japanese. Medoko from Medocoton, which is Spanish for peach. On the other hand, Mela, strangely enough, is Italian for apple. And you know, I can kind of see it. I'd like to shout out whichever mad lad on the localization team decided to include this crazy pickup line as an option in a children's game. Hasta la review, star. Her timing is not great. The last to start and finish. She gives it her all with her upper body, but barely moves her legs. But a 7 out of 10 for cuteness. Today's final boss is Atticus, a man who certainly makes an impression. Atticus is the boss of Team Star's poison crew, the Navi Squad. He has an eye for fashion and is widely respected for his incredible skills as a fashion designer and couturiste, having both designed and made all of the boss's outfits. However, Atticus was bullied for liking old-fashioned things and speaking like a fucking nerd. You probably couldn't tell just by looking at him, but Atticus is actually a ninja. I know, right? Doing an impeccable job blending in. In fact, he claims to be descended from ninjas, which would likely make his family from one of the 3 Japanese-inspired regions. Like all ninjas in Pokemon, Atticus is a poison-type specialist, and uses their noxious goop to destroy his enemies and inspire his fashion. Firstly, I want to look at his silhouette. I think we can all agree this is pretty spooky. In fact, I want you to all picture the scene. It definitely reads as dangerous, but I do get more evil, roguish wizard than ninja. I can see this being like a necromancer or something, with the hood up and a tattered cowl. But I'm not saying I can't see this being the look of an assassin. It just doesn't telegraph ninja. The pose is confident, but this outfit is nuts. It really is the opposite of the picture that the silhouette paints, or what you'd expect from a ninja. But I guess that subversion is what makes this fashion. In my opinion, the best way to describe this outfit is loud. This isn't the kind of ninja that sneaks around in the shadows. The whole outfit clearly prioritizes aesthetics over functionality. Both because it's the least stealthy thing I've ever seen, and because he can't f***ing see out of it. Only a single eye is visible, forcing him to regularly flip up his hood so he can actually see what's happening. The main colours of this design are vibrant pink and green, plus purple and orange depending on your version of the game. All very verbose colours that remind you of hazardous waste. While Atticus loves old-fashioned things, this ain't your grandpa's ninja. This is radioactive poison. Like a poisonous creature showing off with warning colorations. After all, what's the point of fashion that doesn't make a statement? Broadly speaking, the outfit consists of two parts: a hooded ninja cloak and the school trousers, both extremely vivid colours. The cowl is definitely the best part of this look. The runny liquid effects of the sleeves, hood and tail are super on theme and a marvellous aesthetic choice. The trousers have been modified with the addition of green and pink splotches over the knees, and they're tucked in to knee-high tabby socks. They resemble the Jika tabby boots that ninjas might wear, but I doubt they're boots because he's also wearing modern open-toed sandals. Atticus creates a similar look with his sleeves. These aren't gloves. The hands are part of the sleeves. He made built-in fingerless gloves. And you know why? He paints his nails. Of course he does. And of course he's going to show them off. Green on the left and pink on the right. The finger sleeves are a unique length, only exposing the finger from the final knuckle onwards. Again, a choice made with the aesthetic in mind above all else. Around his torso are 3 fanny packs, 2 black and 1 grey. These contain some useful tools of the trade, and I don't mean kunai and smoke bombs, no, they contain his sewing gear and makeup. A smidge of darker colour makes his upper half less painful to look at, and I like the way the 2 straps frame the Team Star logo on his right breast. One of them also has a green pin. What's cool about the grey one is that the strap is also a measuring tape, so he can accurately manifest his masterpieces. You can't deny this young man has talent. You can really see the difference in quality when comparing the work he's done to that of the Grunts. If we focus on the Team Star logo, for example, the 3 bosses we've looked at today have clean lines like they were sewn or printed onto their costumes. On the other hand, we can see that the Grunts logos have rough lines and errant spray paint particles. These are clearly DIY jobs and not the work of a master craftsman. Looking at the final renders of the Grunts compared to the artwork makes me wonder if, in the timeline of the games, this was a little while ago. We can see that the logo on the helmets looks worn and faded, while the Polo logo no longer looks like spray paint. I wonder if they found a manufacturer to mass produce them. Now, while we see very little of the real Atticus during our battle, we do get to see him unmasked in flashbacks and in the postgame. And he's handsome. He's one of those pretty boys who clearly puts a lot of work into his appearance. He has the features of a model, which means he can not only create looks, but serve them too. He has that Candace neck, a sharp jawline, and an extremely well-styled blonde coif. Atticus makes his entrance atop his Starmobile like the ninja he is, before he shows off his incredible athleticism by doing a backflip into a superhero pose. The rest of his animations are just as fun, doing a ninja hand sign when commanding his Pokemon to attack like this is a summoning jutsu, and raising the flap of his hood when his Pokemon takes a hit, as if the only reason he took damage is because he can't actually see, and now he needs to take a proper look at what's going on. Or maybe he's just impressed and can't believe his eye. He uses the standard animation when recalling a fainted Pokemon, and when sending out a new one, does so with the ninja throwing style, launching his repeat balls like shuriken. Repeat balls seems a bit odd to me. Might be because he loves history and history repeats, because poison type trainers all use similar teams, or it could be because Varoom and Reveroom are poison types. If he was the one catching all of the Starmobile engines, then repeat balls would come in handy. His Japanese name, Shumei, comes from Shumei Giku, or fall blooming anemone, so it's possible his English name could also be derived from that. Or it could be from the Erigeran Atticus, a species of flowering plant native to areas of Europe including France, Spain, and Italy. That last one seems to be quite relevant, as despite taking place in a Spanish-inspired region, all 3 of these characters have very Italian names in the English localizations. Giacomo being an Italian name, Mela being Italian for apple, and Atticus being a name of Latin origin, fitting in with similar names we associate with the Romans like Spartacus or Biggus Dickus. I'm not sure what this means, but I thought it was interesting to point out. If you have a theory, let me know in the comments below. Hasta la review star! It's very flowy. Doesn't really hit any of the poses, which I would have liked to see. Still though, it's a decent effort, and I would say 5 out of 10. Thank you for watching, and subscribe to catch the next episode, and consider joining as a member to support the channel. Cheers!